morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio, who today, yeah, we got more Pokemon V to talk about. I told you it's going to be a very busy day. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to have a little bit of a chat about Victini V, and if ever there was a fitting Pokemon to be a Pokemon V, I mean, come on, it's definitely Victini. This Victini, ladies and gentlemen, lots of fun. Now, our translation comes from the lovely Antoine Boulet, who has translated, well, I'm going to be honest, it's been all these cards today. Antoine's been on it, and I, for one, rather grateful. So starting off then, 190 HP is honestly kind of low. It's not quite as low as Celebi, but it's not a million miles away, unfortunately. It's not ideal. We got a retreat cost of 2, which is kind of annoying because it means you can't use U-turn board to get free retreat, so we don't like that very much, unfortunately. And we've got a weakness to water, which is kind of alright. Water decks just aren't seeing a lot of play at the moment. Maybe one day they'll come to take out all these fire decks, but it's not happened yet. And you are one of these fire decks. Now it means you are hitting weakness against grass Pokemon like Celebi and Venusaur, and metal Pokemon like Melmetal and Lucario. Now, generally, I'd be saying they weren't particularly good decks, but they did alright in Japan this weekend. More on that tomorrow. So that's not bad. But really, we like being a fire Pokemon for the tricks. Welder to accelerate extra energy while drawing cards. Fire Crystal to get your energy out the discard. And Fiery Flint to get your energy out of the deck. Or indeed, Giant Half to get your energy out of the deck. And then we've got stuff like Heat Factory Prism Star to draw some extra cards. Frankly, great time to be a fire Pokemon. But what does it actually do? Well, according to Antoine, the first attack, 1 colourless energy. Attach free fire energy from your discard to your Pokemon in any way that you like. Now, here's the thing. This is great. And if this was on a non-V Pokemon, if this was on a single prize Pokemon, this would be awesome. But it's not. I mean, this reminds me, and I'm sure reminds a bunch of you straight off the bat, of the old Volcanion. The one that came around in Steam Siege that was, frankly, brilliant. 1 fire energy, 20 damage, choose 2 of your bench Pokemon, attach a fire energy from your discard to each of those Pokemon. Now, this doesn't do the 20 damage, which is sad, but it's free energy, not 2, and it's however you like. There's none of this 1 to each of 2. So you can have 1 to each of 3, 2 to 1, 1 to another, 3 to 1. You can put it on your active, your bench. It doesn't matter. Your options are vast, frankly. And that's what's so great about this attack. It is a really, really good attack for accelerating energy. And fire decks are hungry. Fire decks love energy. Reshiram and Charizard, 4 energy to attack. That's quite a lot. Charizard and Braixen, 4 energy to attack. That's quite a lot. So having something like this to accelerate fire energy is really good. Let's not forget we've just lost and Japan is losing Kiawe. So that means that they're going to have a whole bunch of more energy they need to get without using Kiawe. But then again, we have Welder, and Welder's pretty gosh darn good. And we do have Flareon GX. Now, to be fair, Flareon GX hasn't seen a huge amount of play, but single energy, 30 damage, attach free energy from your hand. I mean, okay, it's a stage 1, but you've got more HP, you're doing damage. Now, you are attaching from the hand, not from the discard, and it's often more awkward to get free energy in your hand than free in the discard. But I might be inclined to like Flareon GX a little bit more for this attack. The other thing is you're a 2-prize Pokemon. We don't really want to use a 2-prize Pokemon for accelerating energy. Honestly, what we really want to be doing here is using Island Challenge Amulet. Now, Island Challenge Amulet is coming out in Cosmic Eclipse, and you attach it to an EX or GX Pokemon, and it gets 100 less HP, but it gives up 1 less prize when KO'd, so it can turn them into a single prize Pokemon. And in these videos about Pokemon V today, I've been talking about some of the bonuses of not being GXs. You don't get hurt by Shrine of Punishment. You can't be gusted up with Great Catcher. We also cannot use Island Challenge Amulet. And that, I think, might be what's needed to make this attack of Victini V really good. But it's alright, because we've got a second attack here, and I like the second attack. 2 fire energy. This attack does 30 damage for each energy attached to both active Pokemon. Okay. Yeah, that's really good. Now, I know it was a couple of years ago, but Mewtwo. The Mewtwo from Next Destiny. The Mewtwo that completely and utterly shaped the Pokemon trading card game for a couple of years. Hugely disruptive. Well, for 2 energy, that did 20 damage for each energy attached to both active. Now, that was good because you could use it for a double colourless energy. Well, we got Welder. So, okay, it's not a quote-unquote single energy attack, but to all intents and purposes, it might as well be. You're still doing it in one turn. You're still getting it going straight away. It's still, I play a supporter, boom, let's roll. Well, this is really nice. Of course, back when Mewtwo was rolling, the HPs were lower. You know, Mewtwo sitting there at 170. Darkrai at the time was huge, and it had 180. Whereas now we're looking at things like Reshiram and Charizard and Mewtwo and Mew that have 270. Well, that's a little bit different, ladies and gentlemen. That is bigger. So really what we're looking for here is 9 energy. Okay. I mean, if your opponent ever uses their GX attack, they're done. I mean the proper GX attack. So if we look at something like Reshiram and Charizard, how do they really use their GX attack to its full effect? 6 energy. Cool. So you have a Welder in your attachment for the turn, 9 energy, boom, KO'd. And that was when Mewtwo really was at its best. When your opponent is using lots of energy, and you can take advantage of that by using their energy against them. So yes, it's 9 energy for a KO, but it's 6 from them, 3 from you. That is when this becomes really, really great and relevant. That's when this becomes amazing. Outside of that, it can be awkward. You've only got 190 HP. It still feels weird to say only in that regard. So the fact of the matter is that if you attach kind of 7 energy to this to get a giant KO, your opponent KOs you and you lose the energy. And remember, we don't have Kiawe, we have Welder, and there's nothing to stop you going nuts and using Lieutenant Surge to double Welder. But generally speaking, we got Welder and our normal attachments. Now maybe we'll get more stuff in the future. I mean, if you want to go into Expanded, you can start mucking around with Max Elixir and all things like that, and you can get even more, and indeed the aforementioned Volcanium. Honestly, the first attack for this is great. I mean, in a quad Victini deck, the first attack is brilliant, but I feel like in a quad Victini deck, you'd be giving up the first 2 prizes, and that would be hard to come back from. Honestly, I think this fits as a one-of in most fire decks. I think you put this as a one-of, and it's a case of, well, if I'm ever facing down a Pokemon with lots of energy attached, Victini, Welder, go. And if I'm using stuff like Reshiram and Charizard and Mewtwo and Mew and giving up 3 prizes anyway, having a nice 2-prize attacker could be really good. It kind of turns into Heatran. In the same kind of 1-2 prize Pokemon that you put 1 copy in for weird situations, for when it's going to come up. But for doing what it does, I really like it. I don't think the first attack is good enough. I honestly don't. I think the first attack is too gosh darned awkward. And I think a lot of the time you're going to end up giving up the first prize, and that's not good enough. First 2 prizes. And then that's going to be hard to come back from. But I also think that this second attack is great. Maybe not as an every turn kind of thing, Maybe not as the basis for a deck, but certainly as an option for if your opponent attaches too much energy so you can just come out and smash. If you're going to pile energy on, honestly, you're better off with Heatran using the GX attack, because that's 50 times rather than 30 times. Although, to be fair, if they've got 2 or 3 energy on, it will help. But that's not the point. The point is, I love Victini, but I don't see it as a deck. I see it as a tech in fire decks, and I see it as a great tech in fire decks, and I see it as one that should see a lot of play. So I'm giving it 4 Wassies, and honestly, saying that just sounds a little bit, low, if I'm honest with you. But I'd like to know what you think about it. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassiePlays, where we talk about a whole bunch of games that don't even have any Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing is always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.